It's always good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And I know that we are all anxious to see what everyone has to show and tell tonight or Zoom and tell. So I'm going to let David take it away for now. So, David?
Thank you, Julie. It's great to see everyone here on this winter evening when the Olympics are going on in the background. So it's good to see that all of you took some time out of your busy schedules to join us this evening. Julie, does Freeman have the ability to present tonight when he
Ooh,
gets to his
let
presentation?
me check on that for you. Just a second. I'm multitasking, as you can imagine.
All right.
Let
Well,
me do that.
Freeman's going to be our presenter this evening, and he is the world's expert on Cambridge Mount Vernon. I don't think I've overspoken, but we'll find out shortly because I know Freeman's been collecting Mount Vernon for a few years and has shared a lot of pictures, and he has an amazing collection. Now, what Freeman and Jeannie did not mention is when I went to visit their house, when you go into the front room, they hand you the flashlight as you walk into the room, and you can look around for hours on your hands and knees on shelves and up on top shelves, low shelves, back in corners. It's a full hour of fun and excitement while you're there. So I want to thank Freeman for his willingness to present this evening, and I think we're all going to learn all that there is to know about Mount Vernon.
Okay.
They should let us know when they make these updates.
And then Julie, you need to mute everyone.
Yep. Just a moment. Freeman, you'll probably have to unmute yourself. I'm have to mute everyone, so just unmute, please.
Okay. I'm unmuted and I'm sharing my
Yes.
screen, so hopefully you can
Yes.
see that.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, David mentioned that we've been collecting Mount Vernon for a few years. This display is actually one that I did at the San Antonio Glass Show in 2005. So we had quite a bit of Mount Vernon, lots of different colors at that time, and we've just continued to enjoy it. And just my intention is to keep this under 15 minutes. So I'm going to start with Stratford versus Mount Vernon, talk a little bit about the production, the colors, and then perhaps the motivation why you should collect Mount Vernon. It should appeal to everybody. And then what are some of the unique items? And then finally, we'll take a look at stuff. So the Stratford versus Mount Vernon. The easiest thing is Stratford has all those jagged edges, the sawtooth edges, the amber four compartment relish. It still has, I guess, for lack of a better term, the bumpy pattern at the bottom with the lines around it, just like the Mount Vernon one. Similar situation with the faces, but it's also a little more interesting in that Stratford and Mount Vernon shared the same numbers. So this is something that would appeal to Jack. That says you can't just say it's a 105 four-part relish. You have to say, is it a Stratford relish or is it a Mount Vernon 105 relish? Certainly there's some variations in the numbers, but there's quite a few numbers that are the same in both Stratford and Mount Vernon. Stratford is actually the older pattern. My first reference was to the 1920 time period. In the blue catalog that we all have, the 3034 catalog, Mount Vernon first shows up on the 1932 page, but it shows up a little confusing in that this page here, early American glassware Mount Vernon pattern, but it looks like Stratford. And then a few pages later in the catalog, you do see what I say is the proper Mount Vernon. Now, to my knowledge, when it was introduced, it was crystal, but very quickly colors became available. By the time 1940 came along, only crystal was noted. So the colors, as we'd expect from other lines, were predominantly in the mid-30s, except for milk. Milk was introduced in the 1954, and there's actually quite a bit of Mount Vernon done in milk. Now, after Cambridge closed, Imperial took some of the molds, and so you can find some pieces by Imperial and even by Fenton. So the decanter I have on the right-hand side, and at least my screen is right, that's an Imperial one. And then, interestingly enough, the Mount Vernon covered urn, covered candy. From Fenton, I've actually seen it with both the square foot, which is the way Mount Cambridge would have done it, and I've also seen it with a round foot. And I thought that was unusual that they would have changed the mold like that. And then as collectors, we've seen Mount Vernon used by our organization as convention souvenirs. And I just picked on 2 examples here. If you've got your own collection of souvenir items, you can find other years and hence other colors. So NCC has some items made. Now, Stratford, it's kind of hard to mistake Stratford for the most part because of the sawtooth edge. But when I'm out looking, if I see something labeled as, the Miss America pattern, I look carefully to make sure it's Miss America. There's also a Viking Mount Vernon pattern and the English hobnail. There's not much confusion on that one other than if you look at the bowls or the salt and pepper shakers, it might look a little confusing. Now, from an advertising point of view, this is one of those other interesting things about NCC, the Cambridge Glass Company. On the left, they produce this little bifold. So you've got the cover, then the inside, and then the backside in yellow. How much other advertising from Cambridge Glass Company have you seen using color? Now, sure, they've got the little display signs in color, but if you look at the Rose Point brochure, Elaine, Caprice, all those other brochures, they're black and white. Catalogs, black and white. Well, except there's, I forget the time period, there's one page or pages showing some Carmen pieces in color. But really, this is kind of unusual that it's in color. And I have no idea why. Cambridge also did or produced advertising mats that then would have showed up in the grocery store ads or the department store ads, jewelry store, not grocery. And I just picked on the one page because it shows us common items. Certainly something that would be sold as a set, a plate, goblet, cream and sugar. And hopefully we'll see 3 variations on the cream and sugar. That's just one style. The straight-sided tumblers, bowls and plates. And this is a neat little picture right here because use your imagination. all of those pieces came from the same mold. It's just how did they shape it coming out of the mold while it was still hot? So that's kind of neat. And then we have the usual, 5-part relish. And again, a plate, goblets, and cup and saucer. This is also a nice thing about the Mount Vernon pattern, because sometimes the pattern goes all the way to the edge, like on the plates and the bowls above. But on the goblets and the cup and saucer, no, you're going to have the clear to the edge. Whoops. Okay. And then just for comparison, I put in some information from the price list, the 1940 price list. Item number 1 is that 10-ounce goblet, and that was $5 per dozen. Whereas in the 1958 price list, that 10-ounce goblet was $16 a dozen. Okay, so it's gone up a little bit. This other page that I picked on comes out of the 35-37 catalog, and it shows a nice variety. Candelabra shows up in here, things that you probably don't see very often. The square toilet box, and then we've got the toilet bottle. But I took note of the comment. These prices are for crystal and represent high retail prices. This line is also made in Carmen. See separate price list. Doesn't say anything here about other colors. So I have no idea if the other colors were discontinued and Carmen was the last color to be done. Don't know. But when you're out looking, that says that big candelabra exists. The museum has it. It's not in our house. I have a couple other ones, but not a Carmen one. Now, in terms of colors, well, you certainly have the crystal. Okay, Carmen, amber, forest green, gold crystal, royal blue. The Ritz blue, I believe, was only done on a goblet and a sherbet. Amethyst, from my perception, is the hardest color to find. I only have 3 pieces of amethyst. Heather bloom, crown Tuscan, milk, violet. I put the other picture in here. It's a combination of Mount Vernon salts and Stratford salts. And again, you see the sawtooth edge, but you'll see the crown Tuscan. So that's where crown Tuscan's used. But the pink, the light emerald, no, not Mount Vernon. That would have been Stratford colors. So why should you collect Mount Vernon? I guess my first comment is it's heavy duty and suitable for everyday use. In our house, yep. There's goblets in the kitchen cabinet. They're used every day. It's not a fragile, blown glass. It's a heavy, pressed. So in that sense, it's heavy duty. And for some things, it's readily available. But it really goes back to what's your collecting interest? Back in December, Norman talked about salt and pepper shakers. And I showed, colored Mount Vernon salt and pepper shakers at the time. Well, but that got me looking, and I found, I actually had 2 variations of the crystal Mount Vernon. If you looked at the base, the base is different on the two of them. Have no idea of the time frame, but it's just one of those observations that some people find interesting. Also, if you collect things that have labels, well, okay, here's a salt shaker or pepper, but it actually has the commemorating the reopening of the Cambridge Glass Company, 28 March 1955. So, just one of those neat little pieces to have in a collection. And then certainly if you're into perfumes, colognes, yes, there's colognes and perfume bottle. I'm aware the colognes are in color. I'm okay having the crystal ones, so that's a challenge. Find them in crystal. If you collect smoking items, you can find your smoking items in Mount Vernon. Just happen to have a set. Sorry. I'm assuming Grinnell might show a cream and sugar or two, because cream and sugars, Mount Vernon has at least 3 styles I can think of. If you're into vases, got different styles of vases. Candlesticks, candelabras, if that's what you collect, you've got choices. If you want something decorated, well, decorated would be Charlton decorated, silver decorated. And since Mike is online, I've got one bowl that has an engraving on it. But sorry, no etches. So depending upon what your interest is in collecting items, you can find a whole set. Barware, you've got decanters. And decanters, then you'd have the 3-ounce tumblers to go with it. So choices. So like I said, some of the unique items would be Charleston decorated, anything with the silver overlay. And silver, I have some things that were done with Silver City, and then I have some things that were done with Rockwell. Rockwell, I know it's Rockwell because it has the asset stamp at the bottom. Engraved, have the one bowl. Farber, what I can think of offhand would be the salt and pepper shakers, or in Farber. And then certainly from a collector point of view, it's always neat to find things that you can't, it's Mount Vernon, but it's not in the catalog. For example, my milk glass vase, that's not in the catalog, but it is. And then the other little flared compote. So my objective was really just to acquaint you with Mount Vernon. I still had to start with a little bit on the Stratford so you can follow that progression. But now I'm ready to see what you've got. And then, yes, I have a few things sitting on the table here that I can show at the tail end.
I was worried about you, Freeman. I was worried. But I do have a couple questions, Freeman. This was very interesting. Thank you. And I had not really put together Stratford and Mount Vernon together, but you're absolutely spot on. Little sawtooth, and it's a different pattern. Again, the ingenuity of Cambridge and extending their lines. So you mentioned that it had Crown Tuscan. How many items were in Crown Tuscan? Was it just the little salts, or, I guess I don't really remember a lot of things in Crown Tuscan.
Well, I'm holding a cupped compote. There's also a flat style of compote. And
can you take yourself off show and tell?
Oh,
that way we'll be able to see it a little bit clearer. Thank you. Or off the, sharing.
Just a second.
Thank you.
Um,
Hmm.
I want to hold stop sharing.
There you go. They
Okay.
gave you that new control. That's something new. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so this is better. So this is a cupped compote, but there's also a flat one, which I thought somebody would be showing pictures of the flat one. I believe I've seen the flat compote Crown Tuscan at the museum. So that would be the only other piece I'm aware of. But I'll go ahead and ask Tarzan. He's a fellow Mount Vernon collector. Has he seen anything else?
Hey, Freeman, on those, uh, the stem I have seen, that muddler stem, I've
Yeah.
seen it in various things that were crown, but
Okay.
typically you don't see an entire piece in crown.
Okay.
Okay. We did also have a question, and the question was, just a moment, is how do you tell if a piece has been reissued? So that was coming from Jonathan. If I can find his question again here. He was kind of asking, how do you determine if it's a reissued piece? How can you tell the difference between Cambridge and a reissued piece and pieces that are reissued?
My answer would be the color. You know, the Imperial decanter, if it was in crystal, I couldn't tell the difference. But in color, Imperial used colors that Cambridge didn't do. Um, just like I pointed out, the covered candy. Um, this little, creamer, Imperial also did. But again, if I see it in, I forget what Imperial called their green, but it's not a forest green. So again, I would know color wise, it would have been Imperial. So I think that's the bottom line is if you see a strange looking color, it's not a Cambridge one.
Okay. So you talked about like the Carmen had its separate price list, but we really don't know about the other colors. Besides the Carmen, we always know that was a little bit higher because there was gold in the Carmen. What would be the other higher
No
price? Like,
gold in Carmen, Julie.
oh,
No
I'm
gold in
sorry,
Carmen.
not sorry, misspoke. Um, what other colors would you find would be the higher or more highly collectible items or hard to find colors besides, let's say, crown is obviously a hard color. What are, and you said amethyst is a hard color. What what do you see the most of? What do you see the least of?
Um, I see the most of amber, the most of carmine. I probably would even say forest green. I see a lot of forest green. So what I see not much of is amethyst and then gold crystal.
Hmm,
Don't see that much gold crystal.
okay. Well, we hope that we'll see some pieces tonight, right?
That's my plan.
Okay. So would you like me to save you for last, Freeman?
Please.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your presentation. I find it delightful. And I'm looking forward to seeing your additional pieces. I have been very fortunate to visit your home and know what wonderful pieces you have in Mount Vernon. And I'm very thankful that you were able to share with us tonight some of the little nuances because we forget about all the advertising ephemera that we can go back and look at as well. So thank you. And I thought it was very interesting. The same mold, four different pieces, again, showing the ingenuity of Cambridge glass. So with the people that I have that have said they have glass to share, we're going to start just kind of going down the line. We'll go with Gwinnell and then Sue on deck, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'll start with one of those mold items that went 4 different pieces.
Nice.
This is in the ruffled vase.
And I remember when Scott found it.
Yes, I did. I gave you a call. It's kind of a neat piece to find. And then yeah, I've got a cream and sugar. And it's in the Carmen.
So take note that that's one style of the cream and sugar. That's the bigger one.
Yep.
And I showed a smaller one. And then in the advertising map, there was still a third one.
I don't have that one. I've got the Imperial on the little one. And it's definitely one of those odd colors.
And I noticed the pattern goes all the way to the top on the Imperial ones, but it did not go all the way to the top on the Carmen ones.
True, between the large and the small. And I don't know about the other one. Freeman will have to tell us on that one.
Yeah, the third style, it does go all the way up.
So that's what I've got in Mount Vernon. Not very much.
All right. Well, thank you. I love that. I'm glad that you could show us that vase, and that is a really spectacular vase.
It is.
Oh, we have a question from Jonathan again. He's very observant, which I love. He said the Imperial Cream had a handle that looked very much like Caprice.
Very much so. It does have the Mount Vernon edging on the what do you call it, outside the circle parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little different there.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see the difference in the two handles on the two
Give me a
different
minute and I'll go get one and I can show you.
Oh,
Okay. We'll give her a second here. So are there any other questions here for Freeman as as she stepped away for a second? I know that we all have questions.
I have a question, Julie. Freeman, you probably already said this. What was the production dates for Mount Vernon?
1932 up until factory closing,
Thank you.
which makes
Okay.
it longer than Rose Point, longer than Caprice.
Hey, I got a question for Freeman. Is when you have a candlestick, like an individual large candlestick, with the add arms and the nappies, did they sell them with the rose point pattern on them or not?
You could certainly have combined them that way.
Right. Now, I've got some that way, and I didn't know if they were legitimately sold in the stores that way, or it just have been added by collectors, or what? Or do you know? Anybody know?
No, no.
I've got them pictured in the book, and I didn't know if that was right or wrong. So there was a
Okay.
lot of different candlesticks that
No, don't know.
had the nappies and
Well,
the peg vases on them, and then I had arms, and I thought, well, they might win them. All right.
Sounds like a research project, Gary.
Okay.
In the meantime, we're going to go back to Gwinnell since she was so kind to return and come back with her other set of creamers. So
Okay.
Gwinnell, we're going to turn it back to you.
All right. Well, here you go. They're almost identical except for just the outside part of the circle. You see that, Jonathan?
Thank you. Yes, that's really helpful.
Good catch on the detail. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gwinnell. We appreciate you, going back to your stash of glass there and being able to show. And it's always so delightful when you also show something that was made from a different company. I think it's always, it really helps us as collectors to see those little nuances, just as Jonathan spoke about, looking at the handle, how does that differ? Those are really important little things as we're out collecting. So thank you so much. And as always, we appreciate you sharing your glass with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll move to Sue, and then we'll put Tarzan on deck, please.
Okay, I have a little 1 ounce cordial in Mount Vernon. Here it's about 2 inches tall. It's darling, and have a 2 ounce whiskey. So, and for comparison, here are the two sizes side by side. So, and the one other thing is the 12-inch 5-part relish. And let's see. And that's it. That's all I have in Mount Vernon.
Well, thank you, Sue. And those are really cute that little whiskey is very adorable.
The whiskey, but those little cordials, those are the teeniest little things. You hardly get a mouthful. 1 ounce isn't much.
I think the kids today would call that a shooter.
I think you're right.
Yes, 2.5 ounces, that's their new shot. So,
Sue,
yeah.
do you use those pieces?
Say again?
Sue, do you use those pieces?
No, anything I drink like that comes out of Blue Caprice. But, there's always something tucked back in a corner you can pull out.
What about the relish?
Do
you use it?
No. I was a dealer for so many years, and there are boxes we call the warehouse. And if I can get to the warehouse, there's something back there most of the time. So these are little leftovers.
Just the little ones.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you, Sue, and thank you for sharing. It's always nice to, when we talk about ounces, just to see the comparative types of vessels that were made, whether it's, something footed or it's not footed, and how it compares a little bit in size. So that's always nice.
The sizes are so much different from what we use today.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't know anybody that drinks any cordial out of a 1 ounce glass.
No, nobody I know, at least no college student I know anyway. So thank you. All right, next we'll move to Tarzan, and we'll put Mary and Jeff on deck, please.
Okay. Let me see what I can do here.
Are you sharing?
I'm trying to.
I think you have to ask me that you want to share.
Okay. Did it go through?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It says Zoom, though.
Yeah, I just got Zoom.
It just says Zoom.
Interesting. Nope. Sorry. Hang on. Okay, let's see if this works this time.
Okay.
All right, I can't get it to go now. Anyway, I don't know if you can see the thing or not.
No, we don't see anything
All
else.
right, let's see what's going on here.
Okay.
I'm having the same problem you had, because used to you could just hit the video button and.
Yes, that's why I was like, it was kind of interesting that all of a sudden some things have changed on the menu.
Yeah, I don't know.
They like to do it just to keep us on our toes.
Hey, Julie, to take some pressure off Tarzan, I've got a question for Freeman.
Sure.
So, Freeman, that set of mugs that you had, is that every color of Mount Vernon?
That's the question. Is it every color?
I mean, it's a wonderful set. Because I know you,
I have 7 colors plus the crystal, so there's 8.
yes.
To my knowledge, yes, that's a complete set.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I think you have to ask me to share.
Well, let's see. How do I do that? Participants.
We'll try another second here, and then if that doesn't work, we'll
Well,
come back to you.
all right, that's fine.
Okay, we'll move on and we'll come back and hopefully we can figure this out between us. All right, so let's move on to Mary and Jeff, and then we'll put Nancy and Tim on deck, please.
Okay, well, we haven't put away all the all the Christmas glass yet. So I know, yes, Freeman had showed the picture of the little footed salts, the Carmen and milk glass. And then the green compote. One of the things I really love about Mount Vernon is the way the points just, it just sparkles when the light hits it. And I think it's just a beautiful pattern. The first piece we ever got was Jeff's aunt and uncle had a green pitcher and tumblers. And when they were doing away with their, going into nursing homes, had an estate sale, and we purchased that from them. This is another one of my favorite pieces, is the this compote and heather bloom. And just because we like anything heather bloom with the square, this one's got the square foot. And then the last piece I just got out was something that we have been using, and it's this little kind of flat compote. This is great for putting soft pretzel bites. It's a perfect amount for 2. I think also mini cupcakes or chocolate dipped strawberries would go nicely on this. So that might be this weekend.
I was going to say, you're getting it ready for the weekend. Perfect.
Yeah. That's
yes.
it.
Well, thank you. I really do like that short and squat with just a little bit of rim. That, like you said, it's perfect for certain little things. So
It is. It
yes.
really is.
Well, thank you. It's always great to see you. And next we'll go to Nancy and Tim, and we'll put Wendy on deck, please.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Let's try to turn this camera around. And there we go. Back it up here where we can show that a little better. I did get in the cabinet. I didn't think I had much of the, where is it at? Huh.
Yeah, turn it.
Just a minute, guys. Oh, I see now. Okay, let's do it this way. Salt and pepper. I have a pair of those. So this is a large.
See the salt and
go over that way with it then. Got a large and a small, and we have one of each. A pair. And then this was a neat little piece. And that has the silver decoration on it, and it's also has a silver on the base. See that?
Do you have the matching decanter?
I do not. This one,
that's an example of the Rockwell decoration.
and it's got a number on the bottom. We all know where that came from.
That's all right.
Charlie. Nancy, I don't know where you picked this up at. Doesn't have a spoon. What's that called? Marmalade? No.
Mustard.
Mustard. There you go. Found this in an antique shop, and I says, "That's heather bloom." So we picked it up. It wasn't hardly anything. This little piece is cool. Salt, Freeman?
Correct. There's the two styles of salts, that little round one, and then what Mary showed.
Okay. And the bitters. And last, I don't know. I call it a trinket box. Is there a better name for it?
David and I looked it up recently. I want to say it's a toilet box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't really think that I had much of this Mount Vernon. And then after we started looking at your pictures, Freeman, I've got milk glass, quite a few pieces that came from Charlie's. And then he also had some mugs in the amber and in the, what's the other color that he had? But we picked up his mugs in the Mount Vernon also. But that's what.
And then our daughter has the canters with she likes them out. We had royal blue and Carmen. Tina has it.
Yeah,
our daughter.
We've been giving all the Mount Vernon to my daughter, so she's got most of it at her place. Well, that's what I got to show you, Hen.
All right. Well, thank you. And it's always nice to see the little items. And again, can you move it back to the other little salt? That's really adorable. Oh, other direction. There we go.
It's backwards.
Yes, I know. There it is.
There
Yes,
it is.
there it is. Yes. So yes, that's very different than the salt that was shown earlier. So very cute.
That was at the convention at Jack's table. It's like a little green dot for $3 or something.
Okay. But it shows here a really nice example of the different colors, a couple of different colors, and then also some shapes. So thank you so much for sharing with us tonight.
You bet.
Next, we'll move to Wendy.
Okay. I've got two pieces. One of them is the Crown Tuscan two-handled salt. And the other is the Royal Blue 6-inch cup compote.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous color.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. Gorgeous color on that piece. Do we have anyone else that has anything to share? What do you think, Tarzan? You think you're going to get it to work here, buddy?
Well, I'm going to try.
Okay. Oh, but we've got visuals now. That's good too.
Yeah. This, I'm not sure if it's going to come through today or not, but because I keep seeing you.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what's going on there. I didn't have this problem before, where it would click over to me. So it somehow.
You can see it, Tarzan.
Okay, that's fine as long as you can see it. This is the covered box that goes along with the ashtray. And then there's the two different of the open salts. You can see that's the unusual color. That's the opalescent color.
Just hold it a little bit back toward you. There we go. We can see it much better now.
Okay. Well, that's the problem. We can't really judge it. Anyway, so there's the royal blue one. That's the specialized one. This is the only thing you'll ever find in this color. And it does have the impressed triangle C. There is also this piece, and Freeman had one of these in crystal on his table that he showed, but that's the only one I've ever seen in pink. But pink you usually see in Stratford, but this has got the plain edge of Mount Vernon. Mm-hmm. And there's the vase and Rabina. That's one of the unusual colors you'll find it in.
Rubina doesn't fit production time-wise, I don't think, Tarzan.
No, that's just a piece that came out of, I think that came out of the Bennett Museum.
I think it's just bad Carmen.
Well,
Under fire
whether it's
Carmen
bad
because
Carmen,
Rubina wasn't made in the 30s.
but I will tell you that is strange.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think you had one of these on the table, Freeman.
Yeah.
The covered jar. And I know you had one in crystal. There's one in, that's one of the items they made in milk. And Mike, that is the bowl that I've got that's got an engraving on it. And the bottom is engraved as well. This appears to be a rock crystal formula. That's what I've got to show. Not much, but a few things.
Not much, but some very strange and unusual, really beautiful pieces. So, Tarzan, it's such a pleasure to see you and have you share with us tonight. So, thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated.
Tarzan, could you do that light blue opalescent looking thing you had again?
You mean this thing? It's actually kind of a yellowish green.
What the heck is it?
Near as I can tell, this was just something they tried out. There are a couple of things in the museum that are this color, and in the special colors section, the experimental section.
So it's experimental.
You do find them occasionally. They're pretty rare, and everyone I've seen has been marked with a triangle C in the center.
Huh.
So that kind of pinpoints about the time frame.
Well, that can't possibly fit in with the rest of your collection. You should sell it.
Oh, right. They occasionally come up for sale. Whether that won't come up anytime soon or not's another story.
Yes. Okay.
Julie, I got a few pieces.
Okay, Les, we'll let you go ahead right now before I have a few photos. So go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't think I had any in my collection, but then when Freeman showed his photos, I thought, oh, I guess I do have a few pieces of Mount Vernon that I think about. First one is the same piece that Tarzan just showed with that yellow opalescent. So it's different because generally the opalescent has got a blue tinge to it, not a yellow tinge. So yeah, these are out there. They must have had at least one run of them. And it's just different. Then the other thing I got are violet. So this is one of the Sherberts. I've actually got a pair of these. This one is just, I don't know if you can tell, it's just extremely opalescent. It's really transparent at the top, which makes it really cool. And then the other piece is the goblet, Mount Vernon. So they're part of my violet collection. I didn't really think of them as my Mount Vernon, but yep, they're definitely Mount Vernon. So, okay. That's what I've got.
All right, thank you. And it's always interesting to see some of these different colors. And again, like you showed, Les, on your one glass, very opalescent at the top. On the other one, still looks that thick look on the violet. So thank you. Now I have some photographs I am going to share. These come from Jack. Here we go. Let me see. Try to do this here. I'll start here. Can everyone see the screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So this is a 1435 Epernay. These are from Jack Thompson. So beautiful here. Again, this is very tall. I think you said this also came in Carmen, correct, Freeman?
Carmen, amber, gold crystal. Yep.
Okay. And of course with the arms and then also the vases.
That's also in heather.
I'm sorry, Tarzan?
I said you can also get that in heather bloom. I've only seen one pair, but
Oh, okay.
But no royal blue, Freeman?
I would expect it, but I have
Okay.
I've not seen it.
Next
Just
we
like
have,
forest green.
yes. Next we have the 111 5.5-inch 2-light candelabrum. I do, I like the little ball shape in the middle there. Again, you don't see the cutting on the base. Freeman, now on the candelabrums like this, did they always have, are they always in this shape like this where they have the ball in the middle and it's cut, or is it, do they come in other types of candelabras?
Well, for this particular 2-light, yes, it
Yes.
comes this way.
Okay.
But I'll show you another 1-light candelabrum.
Oh, good. Okay. Next, we have the 5-inch 2-light candelabrums in milk. And again, these are from Jack's collection. And then lastly, he had the 4.5-inch forest green comport and the 2.5-ounce bitter bottle. So beautiful pieces here. Next is a photo from Mike. So I will let Mike describe Mike's items in his case here. Unmute, Mike.
How about that?
There we go. Okay.
All right. I will say this, that I should have been more aggressive collecting Royal Blue Mount Vernon over the years because I've really grown to like it. And one of those stories where the fish got away, I can recall being at the show one year and
Oops. Why did it do that?
you didn't want me to tell the story, I think.
Oh, no, no, no. Just a second. Let me go back and share again. I don't know what happened there.
Well, anyway, I'll continue with the story.
Yes, continue.
Someone had dinner plates. This was all Royal Blue Mount Vernon. Dinner plates and bread and butters and all kinds of stuff. And I wish I could walk by that and see it again because I would be really like that. The dinner plates are really cool. I don't know how many of those you got, Freeman. But anyway, this is what I have picked up over the years. If we start on the left, there's the decanter. Down on the bottom of the decanter are those two little things that we saw in green. There's a set of little drinking vessels around the decanter. Let me see what else. There's a sugar and creamer in the back, candlesticks. I'm in the middle there. A comport. Continuing across the bottom, some sort of ring stem. I call it the ring stem, but tray. It looks like the bottom of it has Mount Vernon, but not the sides. There's a salt and
Correct.
pepper. What was that, Freeman?
You're correct. That's a 2-part. I forget what it's called, but yeah, the Mount Vernon pattern's on the bottom of it.
Okay.
Relish.
Relish, there you go. There's a vase going over to the side, and then I guess that's the water goblet. And up top, top left is a candlestick that Jack won't let me accept as being Mount Vernon, but it's got the ball is cut Mount Vernon, so that's where the candlestick goes, is in this collection. A pitcher and a mug set, and then top right is a some kind of two-handle bowl on a stem. And I don't know where I got the sign, but I'm glad I got it. It's pretty cool. So that's what I got. I wish, like I said, I wish I had more. One thing that's interesting to me is the lack of bowls. Usually, most Cambridge lines have a lot of bowls. I don't see a lot of bowls in Mount Vernon. I know Tarzan held up one that had a cutting on it, and that's as big a bowl as I've seen. And I also really enjoyed whoever had the handkerchief bowl. That was pretty cool. So
Yes.
I need, so anyway, I will continue to try and add to this collection because I really think Mount Vernon's cool.
Okay, well, thank you. And yes, lots of beautiful pieces here. And I think the handkerchief bowl is it coming from the same mold here as this other, um, I would call it vase here, on the right side, Freeman? Is that the same mold as Gwinnell showed earlier? Or is that a different mold where you had the 4 different pieces? Is that the same
No, I
mold?
think that's a mold by itself,
Okay,
just a vase.
just the vase. Okay, thank you.
So before we go, Freeman, do you have the dinner plates in royal blue?
Yes, setting for 4.
So you must have bought it.
Well,
Well, I might stop sharing and maybe Freeman might have one of those to show. Do you, Freeman?
no, because I wanted to highlight other things, and I was hoping somebody might show some blue. But you also showed the 1338 candlestick with what I would call the Mount Vernon ball on it. Is it Mount Vernon? No, it's a 1338. And I think it was last month, Gwinnell showed an arm, the Cambridge arm, that had the Mount Vernon finial on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, now we're back to you, Freeman, to see all your wonderful pieces.
And bowls take up a lot of space.
Yes, they do.
And yes, I do have enough bowls, but let me switch. And I have just an assortment set out on the table. Jeannie said I went to go with red because of Valentine's Day. So the dinner, salad, and then the finger bowl. And yep, there's another one of those little salts. Cup and saucer. The mustard, gold crystal mustard. The cream and sugar that I had referenced earlier. Tim showed, I think yours was crystal, or it was the same
His was, yeah.
silver decoration. Then I wanted to have the decanter so you see the setting. A little unusual is the square box. And with a lot of things, the lid is hard to find. So that's unusual. Also unusual is this, not itself, but because it's divided. That's what's unusual. Has just a large celery, easy.
Mm-hmm.
The amethyst butter, amethyst sugar. I don't think I saw Mike having the cigarette holder in his case. And as you'd expect, it comes both ways with the ashtray foot or a flat foot. Someone had, I think, the milk glass compote that I have in amber. Sue had the little 1 ounce tumbler, and it goes with the little decanter, which is Charlton decorated. And then another bowl, back over here. The candles, the vases, the green and the royal blue, same style, just different height. The candlestick, I think this is what Gary might have been referring to earlier, the Mount Vernon candlestick. That one is in gold crystal, but could you find it in crystal with arms on it? Yes. And if they were etched vases, well, that's different. Here's the other little Mount Vernon candelabrum, just a single. And what's kind of neat is a Mount Vernon lamp. And yes, it is factory made. There's a part right at the top that actually has the screw-on part for the lamp, the holes through it. And then the last thing I pulled out is probably the biggest cake plate that that Cambridge Glass Company made. And I've got the ruler across, so it's like 14 inches across. And yes, I could have pulled out bunches and bunches of stuff. And well, just as a highlight, there's my decanter collection up there and vases. But I didn't want to show everything. I wanted to just sort of highlight a few extra things. So with that, thank you.
Beautiful pieces. Very beautiful. So you said the lamp was factory made?
Yes.
Did it come in other colors beside crystal, or just crystal is the one you know of?
Crystal's the only one I know of.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if I found that in milk someplace. That looks just like the style of, you know, you'd find that in milk or something, but very interesting. So what, in your opinion, since you and both Tarzan are one of the largest collectors in our group, what has been your favorite piece and what has been the hardest piece for you to find?
It's hard to say a favorite. There's always neat pieces. At one of our local meetings here, I showed the compote that had a silver rim to it. Gwinnell turned it over and said, it's got the Rockwell stamp on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I had missed that. So it prompted me to come home and look at the large 12-inch bowl I've got. And sure enough, I found the Rockwell stamp on it. So there's always those fun things to find.
Right.
So no, I can't say there's a favorite. There's just neat pieces. And we use
What was the hardest piece for you to find?
Let's see. I would say the hardest piece for me to find, and it really wasn't per se hard. I showed the covered candy. The picture I had shown was the Fenton version. The hardest thing for me was to find all of those in Cambridge colors.
Okay.
So now I have a full set of those in every color.
Yes.
Plus the silver decorated on Carmen and silver decorated on Crystal. So that was just a challenge. I needed to get every color of those covered candies.
It becomes an obsession if we haven't all figured that out. We become obsessed trying to find that one item to finish off our collections. And as Mike has now found out, he's going to have to go find some other things in blue now. So it's always good for us to have more things. But that square box was spectacular. I really enjoyed seeing that. Does that come in different colors?
Yes, it does. You can find it in amber and also Carmen and heather bloom I've seen.
Ooh, Carmen sounds delightful. So thank you. Are there any? Oh, go ahead, Jeannie.
I have a story to tell. And Freeman's birthday was coming up. We were at the Houston show, and Leisure's had a cobalt blue ball jug, Mount Vernon. I bought it. He carried it around the whole show, didn't know what he had. And Jim and Leora just thinks of that every once in a while. They laugh about it.
Yes.
But yeah, I do have a few ball jugs in Mount Vernon.
I would not be surprised if you didn't. I would be surprised if you did not. Let's put it to you that way. So, well, thank you so much for everything that you've done tonight, Freeman, and showing us all the beautiful glass and your presentation. It is so very much appreciated by us because obviously you've opened up your whole collection. Well, not your whole collection. I've seen your whole collection. It's unbelievable, but so nice to see, all the different variety of items that you could share with us tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to David.
While we're waiting on David, I want to thank Freeman. After 40 years, I finally know the difference between Stratford and Mount Vernon.
Well, according to the 1932 catalog, I'm not sure I do know that. Freeman, do you know if you feel that that was a misprint on the page that shows all the Stratford pieces calling them Mount Vernon?
It's only
Or,
that one page. Only that one page says Mount Vernon, but it shows Stratford items.
yeah, that to me, I've never noticed that little notation at the top of the page where they were calling all the Stratford pieces Mount Vernon. I also noticed during the presentation, and I think it's probably best noted on the piece that the pink two-handled bowl that Tarzan held up, it looks like there's almost a transition between Stratford and Mount Vernon where they took the sawtooth off the top, but they left the diamond portion very large. You could see that in the image from the museum with all the salt dips. Some of them have the scalloped top, the carmine and the royal blue, but some of those in there have the smooth top, perfectly smooth, and then some have the jagged edges. So there's almost three different styles where they were transitioning from the heavy hardcore Stratford with the jagged edge down to the almost the 3400 design that they incorporated into the later Mount Vernon.
And even on those salts, that's an example of that particular salt. I have one that was done by Imperial. So Imperial did it in crystal.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you had it in your color chart, but there is a pair of the large candelabras in the museum in ebony. That's sitting on top in a case there in the ebony case, which there's a fun story if you want to talk to Lynn Walker about how he acquired those. But that's the only ebony I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very nice. And thank you, Freeman, for that program. It's amazing on a particular pattern like that. If you don't collect Mount Vernon, how much there is to know about a particular pattern.
But also how easy it is to sneak a few pieces into your other collections.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. A gentleman came to the show several years ago from the Wheeling, West Virginia area, and he has a pair of the large candelabras in Carmen. So not only is there, I believe, a pair in the museum, but there's at least one other pair. And I don't know if you could find it easily enough, but I think the large candelabra is number 38. Could you look on that price list? What was the large keyhole candelabra selling for? Possibly back in 1932. I saw some very large numbers in the sell column, but I couldn't equate the numbers with the number 38 for the candelabra. And I was just curious because oftentimes we don't realize how expensive these items were when they were produced for the general buying public. Next month, Mike Strebler is going to lead our presentation on the pristine pattern. That is a very large pattern that comes etched and cut and all kind of fun things on it. So check out your cases and start looking for those pristine pieces that you can share next month. And next month, with February being exactly 28 days, it'll also be on March 10th.
So with that, I think we'll end our program this evening, and most of us might return to our televisions to watch some Olympics, and let's go USA. So everyone have a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing you next month. Again, thank you to all that share with us each and every month and who joined us tonight. So it is always great to see everyone, and we hope to see you again on March the 10th.